Hello, everyone. So, today we will start with a new story, a Mills Girls story. The genre of this story it's a realistic fiction, and to remind you what is a realistic fiction, it is the fiction that can be set in the present or the past. It is true to life. Events in realistic fiction could happen to ordinary people in everyday life. Um, yeah, and that's what you should know about realistic fiction. Now, the structure of this realistic fiction is not like a short story or whatever. It is a short story, but it is written in a structure that in a form of letters. So this girl here is sending her family letters every month, somehow, like every month, to tell them about her condition and how she is adapting with the new life that she started. So let's read these letters and to analyze this character and the setting of this story. February 10, 1843. Dear Papa and Mama, today I finally reached my destination of the city of Lowell, Massachusetts. It is so different here. Nothing at all like our farm in Vermont. The ticket taker on the couch, told me that about 20,000 residents live in this growing city. So it is no wonder that streets bustle with activity. All of the people and noise make me so anxious. It is so strange to think that I am miles away from everything I have ever known. It is hard to believe that only a few short weeks ago I answered an advertisement calling for girls and women aged 15 to 35 to work in the textile mills of northern Massachusetts. At the time, it seemed like the answer to our money woes. However, I now worry that I have made a perilous mistake. I have never held a job before. How will I manage? How will I thrive or even survive in a city when all I have ever known is the country life? I'm only 16 years old. I don't think I'm strong enough to handle this. Please keep me in your thoughts. Love, Sarah. So, from this first letter, let's see. The setting here is, as I told you before, the setting is the time and place of the story. So we are in 1843. It's 19th century, and the place we are in Massachusetts, which is in the United States. And the characters till now we have the father, the mother, and Sarah. Now let's see Sarah's obstacles in this letter. Here she is the obstacle. She is facing the change of the environment. She is moving from the countryside to the city, which is a big difference for a girl in the 19th century. She's moving from being a non-working kid to a working woman, from working in the farm to working in the city. So these are the obstacles that are facing Sarah here in this letter. And she feels here at the beginning that she made the bad or the she made a mistake or the bad decision by moving to the city, and the reason behind this moving was to get the money. So let's see the second letter. March 5th, 1843. Dear Papa and Mama, slowly I have begun to acclimate to city life. I stay in a boarding house not far from the factory where I work, and all of the tenants are girls who work at the textile mills. So, acclimate here means to get used to fit in, let's say. In the boarding house, it's the house where there are tenants and they rent rooms and they sometimes they are served some food. Um, There are about 30 residents, and I share a room with three others. There is very little privacy, and it feels odd to be so close to strangers all the time. Also, our room is small, only big enough for the beds, a chair, and a desk, so it is very cramped and crowded. However, there are some good things about life in a boarding house. There is a full kitchen with well stocked pantry and an iron stove and an oven. I have never seen such a contraption before because I have only ever cooked food in a fireplace. I thought the food might taste unusual, but on the contrary, the meals are delicious. We eat in a large dining room with several tables, and there is a parlor where the tenants can sit together after work. Mama will be pleased to learn that a house matron lives in the boarding house so too. She's very stern and strict and makes sure we all obey the rules. There are also cur- curfews, so no staying out. Curfews يعني abandon from getting out past 9 o'clock at the night. So, in this second letter, we feel that she's getting used to the life of the city. She finds something strange, like how they cook. For example, in the farm or in the countryside they use a fireplace, but here they have an oven, and that was strange for her at the beginning. Um, she's getting used to living with strangers, so beginning, she doesn't feel very comfortable in living with strangers, but by time she's getting used to it. Um, sorry. Um, and the obstacles are merely living with other strangers and getting accustomed to the rules of the boarding house. Um, and that's it for this letter. April 1st, 1843. Dear Papa and Mama, the work at the mill is so different from our chores on the farm. We don't plant or pick crops here, nor do we cook or clean. Instead, we run industrial machines to spin threads from cotton fibers and weave them into cloth. One of the workers left an amusing note for me on the first day that said, "Our work at the cloth factory is so much fun, it leaves us in stitches." My day begins at 4:30 in the morning. A clanging bell in the tower wakes everyone in the boarding house. The resonant house sound is very different from the rooster's crow. Some of the girls grumble at the stir in their beds, but I'm used to rising in the early morning hours from living on a farm. After getting dressed, we report to the dining hall where a heavy breakfast is served to all the tenants. Then it is off to work for the Merrimack Manufacturing Company at a two-story textile mill constructed beside the Merrimack River. Rushing river water pours into a water wheel in the basement. It turns gears that rotate a shaft on the factory floor above. The shaft connects to a series of belt and pulleys that hang over the heads from the ceiling, and together they provide the power for every machine in the textile mill. So here this paragraph here identify where Sarah works and describes the power that operates their place. By 5 o'clock in the morning, the mill's spinning machines begin to run. One of the 3 dozen workers who operates the machines. Most of the employees are young women in their mid-20s. Nevertheless, a number of workers are my age or very close to it. Now, here in this paragraph that I will read, we can feel the physical obstacle that faces Sarah. I stand at my station from early in the morning until 7 o'clock at night. So she keeps working from seven, no, from the early morning, from 4:30 to 7 o'clock. As night begins to fall, the bell in the tower clangs again, and I walk back to the boarding house for evening repast to eat her meal. After dinner, there is time to read or sew in the parlor before I shuffle to a bed, bone tired and ready for sleep. Then, at 4:30 the next morning, the bell tower clangs and my daily routine begins anew. So this is her routine. She wakes up at 4:30 and she keeps working um, by the machines for 7 o'clock in the evening, and then she gets back to the boarding house to eat her meal, and she read or sew before she goes to bed. At the end of the day, my feet are swollen and sore from standing for so long. My hands and fingers ache from operating the machine, and the temples in my head throb from all the dust, commotion, and noise in the factory. So these are also, physical pain that she is having because of working for too long uh, by the machines. My heart aches too because I miss you all so much. And there is another emotional obstacle or emotional problem that she misses her family. At the end of the day, she's a kid. She's 16 years old. But I know now that I'm doing the right thing. Now she changed. She thought at the beginning that she was doing a mistake by going to the city, and now she feels that she did the right thing. Why? I have enclosed money to help the Robert's tuition, and I hope he is faring well at college. Please send love to my brother from me. So there is why she feels she did the right thing, because she is helping her brother with his studying at college. So here we can see how frustrating working for this girl, and now we can see the physical and the emotional pain that she is going through while working in the factory with the other girls. That's it for today. Thank you for listening.